A round of 32 game we have before us here. The third map, and it all comes down to this. One of these two players will make their way into the round of 16. That round of 16, of course, very important for both of them, because that means they're just one series away from the quarterfinals where they get their shot to advance into Challenger League for Season 2. It's where you want to be, and it means a lot to both of them, I imagine. But only one can get there. Let's introduce them. Spawning in the top right hand position as the red Terran player, representing Mouse Sports, it's HeroMarine. And to the top left, his opponent, playing for Millennium, we've got the purple Terran player, DieStar. Both players opening up barracks first. Both players then going into a gas, and this should be for Reapers. Should be. Because Reapers on Frost are fantastic for scouting out your opponent. It's such a big map that sending an SCV can take forever. Unless you do it really early, like DieStar has. And also, HeroMarine's doing. Both not taking any chances, they want to know. HeroMarine and DieStar both opting for the clockwise scout, which, just by pure chance of spawn directions, will be favouring DieStar. He's going to know what his opponent's doing. Also worth keeping a close eye on whether or not the SCV gets pulled back or not. Because if the SCV stays, it's going to be used alongside the Reaper just to tip any fight slightly in favour of DieStar. HeroMarine now knows, or should know, his opponents in the top left. Unless, of course, the scout was absolutely ridiculously early. Because, hey, if SCV's in your base that fast, they're in one of the close spawn positions, and he's just checked one. Now, DieStar adding in that Reaper now. Second Reaper, I should add. Whereas we see that, likewise, HeroMarine, he's also going for that second Reaper. Both players want to get a lot of harassment through. It's very important to note that HeroMarine lost that scouting SCV. So he knows there's a Reaper coming, but not what else. And the map control comes to DieStar. He's got the vision, he's holding the watchtower. He's keeping Reapers about, waiting for the second one, just to try and intercept anything that he possibly can. Likewise though, HeroMarine, he's keeping just those two Reapers up in the high ground, just in case a Reaper comes bouncing up so he can get that first shot off. But now he's split them, he could be running into some problems because one Reaper's going to take a decent amount of fire. The SCV constructing the command center goes down, adding a delay in. And these two Reapers can actually delay things for a fair amount of time, but unfortunately a bit of miss micro there. DieStar's Reapers were attacking a command center, not the enemy Reapers. And still, we're keeping a very close peek on when these Reapers engage. HeroMarine has got up to 3, DieStar stopped at 2, and instead constructed a factory, switched over to produce some Hellions, and is now getting in a starport. Are we going to get Banshee? Probably. There's a tech lab. Usually what you're going to be seeing there. Well, not much else really going on yet. Just a difference in strategy. HeroMarine is going to get the better economy this game. Clearly, after the second map, thinking, do you know what, I can't have that happen to me again. I don't want to get behind economically, where I can play my heart out and just not have enough stuff. And that's why we're seeing this CC, third CC, out really quick from him. The trouble is, we've got Banshee coming, which HeroMarine does now know about. This Reaper could not have done any more. Realistically, he scouted the fact that the starport and tech lab were there, knows the Banshee are on their way, and immediately HeroMarine starts up with some Widow Mines. If he places down a missile turret once he gets an engineering bay or gets a good scan, Widow Mines are damn annoying up against Banshee. Can knock out the majority of their health pretty damn quick. So, engineering bay also coming down here for DieStar. It's ahead. HeroMarine starting his up now. Both of these two are going to know the timings of when those Banshee can hit and that sort of thing insanely quickly. We've now got HeroMarine just waiting patiently. DieStar's got a good amount of units on the ground. And HeroMarine's just going to be sitting there being like, okay, at some point that Banshee's going to be hitting me. I've got to be ready for it. This Widow Mine placement is quite mean. Any units that move up going to get hit as they're probably walking into the bunker. HeroMarine's also got a Viking here now, so a scan and obviously the 2 missile charges coming down should be able to deter any of this Banshee play. Interestingly, the Banshee is not within, or the Widow Mine is not within range of the missile turret, so the Banshee won't get taken out by that. But there's still a missile turret there, so the majority of these SCVs should be safe. In comes the Banshee, going to take 1 shot of damage, but backs out now. Meanwhile, over on DieStar's side, he's again going mech, adding in another factory, ready to switch over to that tech lab. The starport pumping out Vikings, and we could very well be seeing a blue flame build yet again out of the Millennium player. HeroMarine now up to those 3 gases, duking it out with that Banshee thanks to the detection of the missile turret. The Viking coming over and a scan may very well be spent here. Will guarantee that it goes down. Nice little pick off. 3 workers killed though by DieStar. And so, considering that his Banshee was scouted really early on, better than nothing, but he still probably wanted a bit more time. And a bit more damage done. 3rd CC now on its way out for DieStar. But remember, HeroMarine, he's had his 3rd orbital command done for ages. Ages and ages and ages. And as a result of that, he's up in the SCV count by a bit. He's had a 3rd mule, and he's going to be able to take his 3rd base, in theory, a bit quicker. The trouble is, DieStar's waiting with a Reaper just to make sure he knows this is coming, and he's also gearing up for a pretty shocking attack. And I mean shocking as in not bad, shocking as in it's going to shock HeroMarine. There's a lot of Hellions here. An awful lot of them. There's 16, 17. He's late to the party and makes it an odd number. He's not going to have a date tonight. This poor little Hellion here. Feel bad for him. Anyway. Will it work? A tank is good against Hellions. A bunker is good against Hellions. A gap in your wall off is really, 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 really bad against Hellions. Because they just come by and they're like, oh, you've got a tank and a bunker. Oh, well. Bye. I'll come up into your main, kill all your SCVs. Not what you really want. But, DieStar, he's not moving out yet. He's just waiting around here. He likes it at the watchtower. He's got vision. Perhaps he's scared of the dark and doesn't want to go over and see what's waiting for him. A couple of Marines heading up here now. They're going to see that there's a barracks floating about. Not even waiting to attack them. Instead of Widowmine just moving down, these Marines are going to die a hideous death. Although it does reveal that there is a lot of Blue Flame Hellions here for HeroMarine. So DieStar, he's had his play given away in exchange for getting 3 Marines. So probably not going to get much sneaky damage now. This tank positioning really utilizing the geography of the map to the max. But all those some juicy SCVs, the Hellion's going to go in for them, and I don't blame him. That is a lot of potential SCV kills. Managing to get 6 straight there. DieStar, only 2 behind now. If he gets a couple more, it's going to be pretty significant. A few more Marines are dying. Tanks are in position, but note how DieStar just skirting around that siege tank position. Killed 8 workers now. The worker supply exactly equal. DieStar just taking a very small lead. Back, we see all of these Hellions go. We've got a couple more Vikings coming through. Additionally, more tanks on their way. And DieStar going for just a very standard mech composition. Whereas HeroMarine switching things up for the most part and going for a biotank force. So this is a bit more similar to what we saw initially in game number 1 from HeroMarine. Is he going to go into the battle cruisers again? We've seen that this is something that he likes to do, and he's done it effectively one game. But if you get too predictable, if you do the same thing time and time again, you can run into some massive problems, because you become very predictable, and your opponent will just start naturally looking to counter that. If you've just been killed by battlecruisers, in the back of your mind, you're going to be sitting there thinking, what if he goes battlecruisers? Better just get out a few more Vikings than I maybe normally would. And that Viking count before battlecruisers, it's actually quite cool. It means these lovely medevacs, the support for the infantry, die fast. And that means stims become a very precious luxury. DieStar now moving forward. Look at that army supply advantage. 124 to 95. The tank count 9 to 4. If this is engaged well, DieStar could go for it. And he sees there's actually not that much damage there. Going to be pushing in. The tanks for DieStar getting a nice amount of damage down, but focus fire from HeroMarine picks off the two at the front. Losses on both sides are significant. However, if we look at the overall resources lost, HeroMarine losing fractionally more. And I mean fractionally. That trade was actually probably bang on equal looking at that, because 8 workers were killed. Tanks repositioning, but great scans from HeroMarine just allows him to pick them off as they move. And he's also repairing up his tanks, getting a nice defender's advantage there. But still, 5 tanks to 9. DieStar pushing forward, slowly leapfrogging his tanks in, but they don't have anything in the way of support. The Vikings just helpless, standing there, flying there and watching. Do try and land, but it's not going to be enough. HeroMarine defends that attack brilliantly and is now at 73 to 45 army supply and up by about 20 overall supply. And that's because the supply in workers is exactly the same. Their economies matched, and the counterattack now on its way. The trouble with mech is that army is slow to produce. And so HeroMarine, if he dropped on top of these tanks, I think could actually just break this position. But he hasn't gone for it immediately, and he's just setting up the contain instead. Waiting it out. Patiently. Hoping that there's not that much damage that can be done. More tanks edging in. Trying to find somewhere they can engage upon. Quick little scan comes down for HeroMarine. Got the first shot off on the tanks, but there's 2 in position for DieStar, so he loses his one. And this is all still sitting very, very close. Nice little move here with Hellions ready to go and poke into the third. We've actually got some Hellbats preparing to drop, I believe, onto this tank line, but there's a good amount of infantry supporting it. Sensor tower and missile turret on its way. Hellions can sneak through there, but it does give an advance warning. Is there anything that can defend this third base? It looks like no, there's not. A lot of SCVs are going to pay with their lives, and this really hurts. So much damage coming through. And now HeroMarine having lost 17 workers. It's the start of what we saw last game. That ever-increasing worker lead for DieStar, allowing him to outproduce. But he's going for it now. He's got some medevacs, preparing for the Hellbat drops. Straight on top of those tanks, meaning they start shelling each other. A Seeker missile trying to go through. Did manage to get the hit. But HeroMarine maintains his position. Still staying solid. Reinforcing with more tanks, but a lot of his infantry there died. DieStar down by about 40 odd army supply. But the work counts slightly favouring him, although fractionally. That's probably soon to change. No, actually maybe not. There is a 4th base out as well for DieStar. HeroMarine gets Hellbats dropped on top of him yet again. The important thing for HeroMarine is he knows this base is up, but it's a planetary fortress, so he can't really deal with it. Whereas DieStar is unaware that HeroMarine has taken his 4th. The other advantage for HeroMarine is he does have a sensor tower in a forward position. So he's able to just see any movement of units to attempt to move out of this area. Very important stuff. The planetary, and of course this work line, taking damage from these siege tanks, just slowly working away at it all. Preventing some mining from that 4th base, and regardless of that, DieStar still staying hugely ahead in the worker count. 82 to 72. May not seem like much, but in mirror matchups, everything helps. Sensor tower, of course, sees this movement of units, so instantly a scan from HeroMarine. A lot of medevacs daring to try and drop on top of that tank line, but there's a good number of marauders ready and waiting. Still, the 4th base of DieStar, vulnerable, potentially easy, to take out because of these two siege tanks. Nice little move with this Marauder. Grants vision of that planetary fortress, but simultaneously we've got a little push in here now from DieStar. He's dropped onto the south row of tanks, able to take those out, but the infantry for HeroMarine doing a nice bit of work. He's got a lot of tanks still up towards the top as well, so his position not broken. However, he is dealing some nice damage towards this planetary fortress. SCVs having to be pulled in order to try and defend it. But this is taking up repairs, taking up damage. DieStar trying to push through and break this siege up position yet again. Unfortunately, one of the observers getting some lag at possibly the worst, most annoying moment they possibly could have done as DieStar starts pushing into HeroMarine's line. At a quick glance, it would appear that DieStar has enough to break this. He has enough to get out of this contain with this push, I think. Although, there are some more tanks here I can make out, as well as a good amount of infantry. And so the mech is trying to push into this tank and bio composition, which is so much harder to do. Of course, the planetary fortress also under siege, but DieStar is going for it. His tank's re-sieging. Hellbat's tanking up a good amount of the damage, and it looks like he's broken this siege position. He retakes the area outside his third. However, his fourth base has taken a lot of damage, and it's still taking more. Unfortunately, one of those scouting marines dies in the process of moving forward. HeroMarine seems to be sacrificing units to the greater gods that, of course, are the planetaries, while simultaneously pushing in towards the third. These tanks getting taken out is a problem. DieStar down to just 24 army supply, and with this push to the top, GG's out, and HeroMarine advances forward into the round of 16 of WCS EU qualifiers.